Hey, what's up, you guys? It's me, Sam, again, and today, I'm going to do a review for one of the most polarizing and biggest films of this year, Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. And if you don't know, this movie is getting panned up and it's getting destroyed by critics. Everyone's been saying it's the worst movie of all time. It's the worst comic book movie of all time. And I just got out of the theater from seeing it twice, and you're probably thinking, "Aw, Sam, you probably hated it. You probably thought it was the most abominable thing ever made." And you're gonna be surprised by this review, as surprisingly, I don't hate it. Yeah, I said it. I don't hate it. I don't really agree with the critics, to be honest. But let's get into this review. Was I looking forward to this film? Kind of. I thought the trailers were good, but not great. And the third trailer that came out right around Star Wars, when Star Wars was coming out in December, I did not think was that good at all. I thought it was showed a lot, way too much, and I just thought it was kind of just really, you really had to show that much. But yeah, I was looking forward. Then the fourth trailer premiered, and I thought that was actually pretty good. And then early reviews came out for it. Critics were passionate. It was getting horrible reviews. People were I think fans were bashing it. They were saying this is the worst movie I've ever seen. And it has a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes, and on IMDb it actually has a 7.4, which is not that bad. And from critics I've read online, they said they were disappointed. It's been getting pretty mixed reviews, so here's my opinion on it. Now, what did I think of it? Well, let's talk about the story. The story for Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice takes place just a year after the events of Man of Steel 1. So this is kind of a sequel to Man of Steel in a way. And basically, the movie opens up with a huge metropolis, and Bruce Wayne driving through Metropolis trying to get everybody out of one of his buildings before it's destroyed. However, if that plan does not work, and Batman and Bruce Wayne, played by Ben Affleck, sees all the destruction Superman, played by Henry Cavill, is causing. So now Superman's pissed off at Batman for all this destruction he caused, and for all this just shit he caused, basically. And sorry for the cursing, and then just a year later, you see sort of everything going on between Batman and Superman. You see Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent actually do have time on screen. So it's Batman dealing with things. He's dealing with some personal stuff. It's focusing on Batman, and it's also first focusing on Superman. So now Batman is trying to take out Superman, and Superman's getting really, really questioned lately, because after the events of of the first Man of Steel. So everyone's really debating, is he really necessary in this world, and do we need him? And that's pretty much the story, and the whole film revolves around this whole idea, sort of, in a way, for a Justice League movie, because in the movie you see Gal Gadot's character. If you don't know who she plays, Wonder Woman, because you saw it in the trailers. But yeah, it's honest thoughts of the story in the movie. I thought it was good. Not perfect, though. It had some problems. I feel there were some plot lines in the movie that really did not need to be there. There were some scenes I felt were not very necessary, and I just thought it was kind of just overstuffed. They overflowed it with stuff. But as a whole, I thought the story was decent. I thought it was interesting. It had a lot of really good moments. I thought the Batman parts were great. They were awesome. And I thought they were really, really, really good. And even the Superman parts were actually improved. From Man of Steel 1, I thought my biggest problem was Henry Cavill. He didn't really come across as the best Superman. So, in this one, he actually did improve himself. It was actually really good. But yeah, anyways, let's go on to the acting. The acting for Batman vs. Superman is really good. It's not perfect, it's just good. I'll say that. Ben Affleck does a great job as Batman and Bruce Wayne. You get a lot of Bruce Wayne, and you get some Batman. Most of the movie is more focused on Bruce Wayne training to fight Batman. It's not entirely about that, but you see him slowly start to really get to know Clark Kent. in some scenes, and it's really, really good. And hell, the opening scene I thought was great. I'm not going to say what happens, but it was just how it was shot was brilliant. Like the opening scene where the credits, it was just brilliant. But I thought Gal Gadot, which I was extremely mixed about, I was not excited for her at all to play Wonder Woman. She was actually really good. It surprised me. I was like, she's actually not that bad. She's got some talent, so that's good. And I thought there was one problem, but I'll get into that a second. And Jesse Eisenberg, why? And I'll get into that into sort of a second. Can talk about Jesse Eisenberg with my problems with the movie, but yeah, Jesse Eisenberg. I'm gonna say that for a second, but I thought the acting was really good. Amy Adams did a good job, and Lawrence Fishburne did a really good job. So I thought the acting was for the most part good, even though there were some parts I was like, eh. Now let's get on to the action, and the action is really good. It's much better than the first Man of Steel. Some of the action scenes in Man of Steel I felt went on for too long. Like I think that fight in Smallville that happened, I felt that was kind of just like went on forever. The action scenes in this one are actually much more condensed, and they're a lot shorter, which I liked. And what you really want to know is how the fight between Batman and Superman went out. It was pretty damn sick. It was like you see Superman and Batman just like duke it out. They're like pissed at each other. They're fighting. It's just like it's pretty damn awesome. It was pretty cool to see them fight for the first time. And I thought the fight was pretty cool, and I thought the action scenes were pretty well shot for the most part. There were some I thought that were a little just kind of didn't really need to be there. They were kind of just forced. But yeah, I thought the action was really good, and I thought the story was overall good, and the acting was good. So now I've talked about the good stuff that I liked. I could talk about the problems, and I actually do have quite a bit of things I didn't really like. Okay, let's get let's get the elephant out of the room. Jesse Eisenberg. Let me just say, this was my second time watching it today. He was better, but not good. Like, he really did feel miscasted in almost every way. I felt like they should have gotten Bryan Cranston to play Lex Luthor, and I just felt he was really out of place. And I felt there were scenes that in this movie that really weren't necessary. Like there's this one scene, I don't know really what it was, and I think I should say, and I'm not gonna, I don't want to say it, but it was just like I was like, what the hell did that have to do with anything? Because it was never mentioned again. I don't think they even mentioned it once, and it was just like, what the hell is the purpose of that? Just there's no point. And that that scene honestly made me question. I looked over to my dad, and the first time I looked over to my friends, my friend was like, what? And I was like, what the I don't want to try not to curse, but I was like, what the hell just happened? And it really didn't really have a place in the movie. No one mentioned it again. I'm not going to say what it was, but you may know if you have seen the movie what I'm talking about. I just thought it was a little bizarre, and it really didn't have much of a place in the movie. But I thought some action scenes were not really that necessary. And overall, my big problem with the movie is that it doesn't seem to know its focus. Like, at times, it's like there's a little too much going on. It's like, at one time, they want to set up for a Justice League movie. At the same time, they wanted to focus on all the stuff that's going on in Superman and Batman's world. And I just feel like a lot of the Batman and like Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne stuff when they're together in this one scene, I thought it was a good scene. But it was just like I felt at times there were parts in this movie that really weren't that necessary, and they could have just been cut out. Like I felt some things about the Daily Planet stuff could have been easily cut out. Like there's a scene with Lawrence Fishburne and like this football thing that goes absolutely nowhere, and I just felt it really wasn't like there necessary, and I felt it really wasn't. It didn't need to be there. But yeah, so what did I think of this movie? It's good. It's not great. I have problems with this movie. And some of them are pretty big problems. Like my biggest problem being that there's a little too much going on. And there's too many plot lines. And Jesse Eisenberg, who didn't bother me as much as the second time I watched it. Today was the second time I went opening night to watch it. And I thought it was good. It's just like I watched it again. And yeah, It's not as bad as the critics have been saying it is. I went in with an open mind, and I got a good superhero movie, not amazing or perfect or anything, but not horrible or abysmal like something say X-Men Origins Wolverine was. Overall, what would I give this movie out on a scale of 1 to 10? When I heard this was happening, I wanted to love this movie. And a lot of the choices they made before cast I was iffy about, and some of them didn't translate very well. So what would I give this movie on a 1 to 10? Sorry, I have my mic there. On a scale of 1 to 10, I will give this movie a 7.5. It's not great, but it's not horrible either. As a Batman fan, I love the Arkham games, and I love a lot of I haven't really read too many comics, but I've read a few, but I honestly have to say that I was disappointed with this movie. Well, I actually am a huge fan of the animated series, as you can tell. I got that a week ago before I saw the movie. It's the first day wearing it. But I honestly did not think the movie was as bad as critics have been saying it is. Was it great? No. Was it terrible? Not really. I mean, right now on Rotten Tomatoes, it says 29%. And before I did this review, I was gonna do an honest impression first time I watched it, and I thought a lot of the movie went right by me because there was so much going on, and I think that was my problem. There was too much going on. Jesse Eisenberg really wasn't that needed, and there were parts that I thought were kind of unnecessary, were pretty unnecessary. But yeah, that's my opinion on Batman vs Superman. I give it a 7.5. It's not as bad as critics have been saying it is. Does that mean I recommend going to see it? Well, to be honest, I'm not gonna. Will I watch this movie again? I honestly don't know. I can't really tell you. There were parts that were brilliant, but there were parts I thought that were that good and kind of just weren't really needed there. So yeah, that's my review for Batman v Superman. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.